I had to go on. Hello. Goose. Okay. Hey, Jimmy, Linda, if y'all want to go up to my comment, that link will let you get on here as a guest. If you can't tell, I'm tired. I've been on the road all week. It's been a long week dealing with snow, and I'm sorry, guys. It's just trying to get my head straight, and I'm trying to wake up a little bit, I guess. And I apologize. It's just been a long week for me. Very stressful week. Truck froze up on me and everything else. Oh, come on, Linda. You're brave. You can do this. You don't even have to show your face. Just come on and ask questions. Sharon, you can do it too. Come on, Jimmy. Can't be afraid. You got to come on. Somebody click the link. Come on. Lathis, you can come on. Somebody come on. Let's do this. Y'all come on and question the old bear.
You know what? I used to be the most bashful person in the whole wide world. Never ever dreamed that I'd ever go in front of people and even sing or go on a network live. People I've never known before. But here I am doing it. And
Well, Sharon, it don't matter. Just you don't have to show your picture. You can just leave the microphone on. Come on, and ask questions. Relatus, you asked, tell us what it means when a Bigfoot shows his teeth. When a Bigfoot shows his teeth, it's an intimidation factor. It's something that he's seen if you'll give a reaction to. Uh, Now, if they bare their teeth and they're growling, it's purely intimidation. If they're baring their teeth, like smiling at you, it's to get a reaction. That's all it's about. It's just them showing their teeth, that they have big teeth and that they're all powerful. That's what it's all about. It's an intimidation factor. And Sharon, no, we have not been getting any action on around here around our home. Thankfully, uh, I haven't been home a lot in the last month.
right.
Uh, so I was home at Christmas time and New Year's because I was kind of ordered to be home. So Yeah, Jimmy, it's not that I miss going out to people's houses and helping people. It's just I'm getting older, I'm getting slower, and I'm tired a lot more. Uh, 20 plus years of driving a truck, it makes it kind of tough on your body. And, because of that, it takes a toll on you for driving for 20 plus years. And I got a lot more aches and pains. It's hard to get up and move around, and it's hard to move fast when you need to deal with a Bigfoot. You got to be able to move fast and smoothly to do it. Yeah, Jimmy, I'll be 56 in August. So yeah, and Sharon, grandkids. Glad to hear that you got them around you. Hey, John, how are you? If y'all want to hear about Bigfoot in the South, there's the one you want to talk to is Mr. Barfield. Lathis, 72 years in February. Well, happy early birthday. Hopefully you got another 40 or 50 more years. Hey, John, give me a call sometime next week, by the way. Well, Trey Parr, I did get a couple of accounts, three actually, uh, while I was out. I got one that's out of Michigan. I was given a phone call on that one. I talked to a trucker that ran into a Bigfoot on off from I-80 in Pennsylvania Turnpike. And I also talked to a gentleman that was in North Carolina, another truck driver that I spoke with while I was down there. And while I ran into him actually at the Loves here in Virginia on I-77 and spoke to him, but it happened to him down there in North Carolina. Um, just see, where was he at? He was just north of Charlotte, between Charlotte and Statesville, unloading one night. And it's one of those little places that you go to, and it's like, is this really a business? Was his question. And he had an encounter with a Bigfoot. Hey, Southern Grits, won't you come on the show? You don't have to show your face. Just come on the show and ask questions. So tell me which one of the ones you want to hear. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, or Michigan. Somebody's got to pick. Well, the reason they seek us out, Lathis, is because we're out in places where most people aren't at night. And, you know, a lot of times, everybody complains about truckers being pulled off on these exit ramps and entrance ramps and stuff like that. Well, that happens a lot on big interstates. And, that's the big roads. There's a lot of traffic on them at night. But truckers also, um, we go out to these little tiny businesses out off of these little roads, barely wide enough for two vehicles to pass. We have to make deliveries late at night, because they're open 24 hours. A weld shop or something of that nature, or a small little plant that's out there. We make a lot of, and the reason we see a lot of Bigfoot, a lot of truckers see Bigfoot is because they're out there parked out there. They run out of hours. We only allow 14 hours a day, you know, total on the clock. You can't just at 2 o'clock in the afternoon stop your clock and then start it back up at 6 o'clock in the evening. You can't do that. U.S. Department of Transportation won't let us do that. You start your clock at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, you got to shut down. And if you're out there somewhere unloading at 6 o'clock, time you get done, you can't go nowhere. So you end up staying there on their lot, and they go home, and you're there, and it's quiet. Guess what shows up most of the time? Because you're out in the middle of nowhere. These truckers see a lot. I've seen a lot out on the road. And now I've got to go to Washington State for my job, and I'm a trucker. So who knows what I'll see between here and Washington State. We have a few friends asked for North Carolina. Hmm. Well, I'll put it to you this way. North Carolina, this trucker made a delivery, and he got done with his delivery at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, he had to drive that morning. He left at midnight, and he got down there to that little business. I can tell you it's between Statesville and between Charlotte. Where he got off the interstate is just the first exit above the rest area in North Carolina, off from I-77, is where he got off the interstate. And that was at noon. He drove out that road quite a distance, I think about 10 to 12 miles out there, and this little business is out there, and they had ordered 3 pallets of stuff, and that's all that he had left on his truck making a delivery. The time he got done, the time that they got done with the unloading, because the 3 pallets were all the way up in the front of the trailer, so they had to drag them out with a forklift, then pick them up, take them off, take them inside, set them down where they wanted them, then go back and do it 2 more times. Time he got done, it was 3 o'clock. His clock's done. He had to stop by 2. And at 4 o'clock, this place shuts down. Now, it's not a big business. It's just like one building. It's and I don't even know what they do there. He's not even sure. So he asked to be all right if he parked there on the lot, because he was done. He's out of hours. He can't roll that truck. You can't just drive it to where you're going to go load next and park there. You have to stay where you're at. So he had 10 hours off duty time. So at midnight, he could start again. And he was supposed to load at 4 o'clock the next morning. And he was only 3 hours, 3 hours from where he was going to go load. So it gets dark about 6:30, between 6 and 6:30 down in North Carolina. And it wasn't really cold. North Carolina don't get cold like it does here in West Virginia too often. And he was outside of his truck. He'd ordered pizza, got him a pizza. He found a little place near there that would deliver it to him. which is surprising out in the middle of nowhere. And he got food. I guess they deliver there all the time to that business. And he got some food and he ate and he sat in his truck, ate his dinner, and he had a pretty good sized sleeper. He has like a double bunk sleeper, high rise tractor. Uh, he has a refrigerator in it. He had some food and stuff in there. He had a microwave, refrigerator. I think he had a TV in there and a satellite dish, and he was in there eating, sitting on his sleeper berth, there on the bunk, and eating his dinner. He got out of the truck. He said he thought it was around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and when he was outside of his truck, his truck was idling because he didn't have an APU. So in order to stay warm and to run, your TV and everything else, you have to run your truck or it'll draw your batteries completely dead in no amount of time. Within an hour, your batteries are dead and you can't get the truck started. So then you have to call road service to get a jump. And he wanted to leave there at midnight, promptly at midnight, so he could go and do his job and get loaded for his next load. Pays good. So when he was standing outside of his truck around 7:30 or so, and he heard some strange noises coming from the woods. And this place has got woods on one or two sides. I think on two sides is what he said. And then there's a field on one side, and it's a plowed field, and he doesn't know what was in the field, or whether it was corn, soybeans, whatever. And at this point, he kind of just blows it off like it's just normal wood creatures making noises. And at that point, he's like, "Okay, that's good. It's just normal wildlife moving around the woods." So he's walks around his truck. He's kicking the tires and he's doing kind of like a post trip on his truck, and he just checking his truck over because he takes pride in his equipment, like all of us do. Actual drivers do, not these steering wheel holders that are out there that always seem to have wrecks and do stupid stuff like pulling out in front of people and stuff like that. Those are steering wheel holders, they're not drivers. Don't let nobody kid you. If you don't do your job correctly, you're a steering wheel holder and you're not a driver. Truck driving is a lifestyle. Ask my wife. She don't like it. You see the face? Anyway, he's checking his lights, and I guess he found a light that was out on the back corner of the trailer. And at this point, he goes up to his truck and he gets a screwdriver and he goes back there and he pops the lens off and he's checking the bulbs, and the bulbs are good. He's got a flashlight and he's looking at them. They're fine. The bulbs are fine. Then he gets underneath the truck and he looks at the wiring. And as soon as he hits the back of the light itself, where it's mounted to the trailer, there's two wires that come in. One's hot and one's ground. One of them's broken. So as a trucker, you got to be a little bit mechanically inclined to take care of your truck. So at that point, he goes up, he gets his wire cutters and a crimping tool, and he gets the little butt connectors and he cuts the wires and he puts them back in there. And the whole time he thought it'd start raining because he was feeling like water or something hitting him on the legs. Well, he didn't know it was little tiny rocks being thrown at him. I mean, little tiny rocks, like pea gravel size. And at that point, after he got done, he got out and he's like, "What ain't even raining? What the heck was hitting me?" And he shines his light down. There's little tiny gravels all the way around him where they hit his pants leg and just bounce off. Hit his leg and it bounce off, and he thought it was water. So at this point, he's like, who in the heck is throwing rocks? There ain't nobody out here. I'm in the middle of freaking nowhere in North Carolina. And at that point, he's like, why am I, why is somebody tormenting me? And his truck's idling. So a diesel makes a lot of noise. And it's kind of, it's kind of aggravating. It's you're out there doing your job and something like this happens, you kind of get frustrated with it, and you have to be away from your family, you have to be away from your kids and all your buddies and so on and so forth for a long period of time. And he's been out on the road, he said, for a total of 3 weeks before this happened. And he starts shining the light around in the woods that are on the side of this place, and it's just a little small stretch of woods, and off at a distance he can see lights at a house. He's like, well, could there be kids there doing this, sneak over here and do this at night, seen my truck lights and come over and start throwing rocks at me? And Lathis, no, they are there trying to get you to leave, or to at least shut the noise off. A diesel truck idling makes quite a bit of noise, and that's the reason they were throwing the rocks. So at this point, he kind of like, well, what's going on? And he's shining the light around. And he kind of hits something, and he kind of like stops, and he's like, he said he kind of had this look on his face, like, did I just see what I thought I saw? And he shines the light back over there, and it's not there this time. And he's kind of questioning himself at this point, like, what was it that I saw? It was just a fleeting glimpse as he pulled the light across, and it was kind of like this kind of look, like, why, what, huh? I don't know what that was. And then all of a sudden, another rock hits him, and he was kind of with the light down, and he saw the rock, a little tiny pea gravel, come in and hit him against the leg. And okay, I'm going to stop here for a second. Um, Mr. Bates, um, you can be assured we will definitely say a prayer for your wife, for her to be healed, and for the Lord to touch her and take the cancer away. The diabetes, we will pray for it to be taken away from her also, and for you to definitely have all the strength you need to help her and deal with what she's going through right now. Uh, we will definitely be praying for you, sir. And um, if y'all didn't know, we lost our daughter, our little baby girl, back in September, and um, she lost her battle with cancer, 3-year battle with cancer, and so therefore we will be saying a prayer for you and for your wife. Anyway, back to uh, the encounter in North Carolina. I apologize. When I see cancer, I have to say something. Uh, please forgive me, but that's just who I am. Anyway, now once he saw the rock, he flicked the light back up, and that face was there. And at that point, he now understood what he saw. Something that looked like a human, but with grayish skin, wrinkled up worse than I am. And I'm pretty wrinkled for an old guy. Um, and at that point, he's looking at it like, okay, who are you? What are you doing here? And then it kind of steps out from behind a tree. Now he's got a full body view, and the light is not real bright. He doesn't have one of those big, 4D cell battery lights that are super bright. It's just kind of like a little double A, four double A's and a light, and that's all he's got. So unknowingly, he finds himself walking towards the fence. He gets over to the fence, and the thing's just standing there staring at him. And at that point, he's staring at this thing, and he's like, "What the heck is this thing? I don't even know what. I've never. What is it?" Naturally, you would expect to be kind of quizzical about what you're seeing, not completely believing what you're seeing, and not understanding and not knowing what they are. And so at that point, then he starts getting this feeling of, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Maybe this thing don't like me being here. Now he's not being told it by mind speak because it's just he said it's just the way it was looking at him made him kind of feel like it doesn't want him there. And I understand that. Looking them in the face is not the most productive thing to do, but it also shows them that you're not gonna you're an alpha. For men, it shows them that you're a dominant male, and they tend to respect that unless they mean to eat you, and then they don't care how you look at them. The only thing they understand at that point is lead and brass and grenades and claymores and stuff like. They understand that stuff. So at that point, the gentleman he's starting to back away from the fence. He backs away and he bumps the back of his trailer where he was just at. And he's what's going through his mind is, should I run around my truck and get in, or should I just like play it off and just kind of whistle while I kind of keep an eye on it while I walk down the passenger side and get in the truck and make it seem like there's two of us here, two people. And he plays the two-person round, which I believe probably saved him from um, being a fatality and probably saved him from a beating. Because when he backed up to his trailer, this Bigfoot started towards the fence. Now, this is a short fence. And 6, 8 foot tall. For a Bigfoot, that's nothing. They could probably run and jump over that like a deer can. A deer can take and jump a 12-foot fence. A Bigfoot can definitely jump an 8-foot fence. And at that point, he's kind of like, He's not sure what to do, but he does the first thing that comes to his mind and play like there's two people there. And so at that point, he goes through the process of doing this. And he goes and he's like, "Hey, Mike." He used Mike for some reason. I don't know. There was nobody else there with him. "Hey, Mike, go ahead and start those. Go ahead and start the paperwork, and we'll get out of here in a little bit and be gone." And that's the way he does things. And he kind of is like, "Hey, do other things. Do this or do that in the truck. Fix this up in the truck, and we'll get ready and leave here in a little bit." And he's kind of talking out loud. He's just anything that comes to his mind that he could say, someone else is there, or portray that there's someone else there. That's what he was doing. Now, at this point, he kind of glances back over his shoulder at this thing, and he kind of hits it with a light, and it's standing there looking at him like, "I only see one." And the truck, I guess the motor changed its, it may have started doing the cleaning of the filter, and the truck shook. So then when it done that, he said it kind of jerked back and kind of opened its eyes up a little more. And he starts talking real loud. "Hey, do this. Hey, you might want to get that gun out that, we might have a problem." So at that point, this Bigfoot starts backing up, which if that Bigfoot wanted him, no matter whether there was someone else there or not, it would have taken him. And I think it gave that Bigfoot, it understood him enough and understood his body language that, hey, there's two of them here, and somebody mentioned gun. And Bigfoot understand our language enough to where they understand that word a lot. And when it heard that, he said he heard it take off running because he had turned back around and started towards the truck, taking bigger steps. And when this thing heard that, it took off. And so at that point, he's saved himself from this creature simply because this creature wasn't that interested in coming after him. He didn't run. He did the right thing. He didn't run. Number two, he portrayed as two people, not one. Three, the death cycle on the truck started, which made the truck shake, which gave him more, believability to this creature that there was two of them there. And then he mentioned a gun, which was his fourth thing that he did right. So if he did all these things in the right order, and he did it without knowing what Bigfoot is, he kept his head. He thought, what can I do to get this thing to leave? I don't know what it is. And so at that point, he saved his own hide by using his brain and thinking, what can I do to make this thing understand that I don't want to mess with it, and that there's two of us here. And, so he did it that way. And I applaud him for it, and I'm thankful he did. And so if you think we run into one of these creatures, think about what you do and what you say. Never run, because as soon as you run, you're prey. Uh, And I think that's what a lot of people that have disappeared in national forests. I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying there's probably a probability, a very high probability, that some of these people ran into a Bigfoot and they started running away from it, which triggers their predation, their predatory instinct. We all have it. Every human has it. But it triggered it, and these people got pounced on. Some of these people may have disappeared because of that. Some of them may not have. It could have been natural reasons they passed, but there's got to be a reasoning why people are not being found, their bodies are not found, and bones are not found of some of these people. And it's a scary thought if you think about it. This one encounter illustrates, if you use your head, you can save your own life. And that's the biggest thing about dealing with these creatures. You always got to outthink them. And if you think enough and do it the right way, you won't have any trouble. But that's the problem. You got to think. And a lot of people lose their common sense when they see something of this nature. So I applaud this gentleman for doing the right thing, not knowing what he was dealing with until he ran into me. And I'm glad all of y'all showed up, but I'm going to cut this live. I apologize. And yes, Lathis, Bigfoot do eat humans. Not all of them, not all the time. But some people have disappeared because Bigfoot has made them into dinner or lunch or breakfast. And I hate to say that, but it happens. And they're not these big, hairy creatures that are your friends in the woods. They're not. And it's a bad thought to have. But that's the truth. Sharon, yes. Many years ago, I ran into Dog Man because I was driving a truck delivering hay, and I've had encounters of where they scream at you and then they come and shake the truck. That's happened before. Um, and I don't go to them places anymore, thankfully. And one of them was in Texas, and I don't want to go back down there. It didn't scare me, and a truck beside me got rocked one time by a Bigfoot at night, and we found the footprints right after. So I know it was a Bigfoot. This guy didn't know what it was. He just saw some big hairy creature running off, and that's all. But yes, it does happen to me. And so, yeah, Sharon, I can do that on another time and give that to you. And I hope everybody stays warm tonight. It's supposed to be down to 8 degrees here in West Virginia, and it's going to be a little cold. And so my job is to make sure the fire is good and hot. And my wife is going to sleep on me. I hope y'all don't mind. And I hope y'all have a blessed night. And it's the Old Bear and the Mrs. Old Bear saying good night. And I hope, and I apologize. In the next live we will have a guest. And thank y'all for coming. And we'll see y'all later. Bye bye now.